What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We are beginning earnings season. It is upon us. So we'll take a look at some of the companies that reported. We'll take a look at how it affected the SPY, how it affected the Qs. If you guys got tickers you want to take a look at, make sure you guys throw that into the chat pane. All my peeps in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that little thumbs up, subscribe. We got all my people in the house. Good morning to Albert. Good morning to Alex, Andy, Bill, Brian, Cindy. We got Fabrice in the house. Good morning to Hector, Jay, Linder. Good morning, Joe Lawrence. Martina, Sean Bell is joining us. We got Win Wally. We got Rado in YouTube land. Good morning to you. Daniel, good morning. Whew. We got the squadron coming in on earnings day. So Win says no video. Okay, that's good update. Hold on. That's a good update. There we go. Now we're back, baby. Let's go. All right, so a little gap down on the SPY, mainly caused by the Qs. The biggest question of the day, or at least of the next 28 minutes, would be where does this actually want to open? Where does this open? We are right at a VPOC. The easiest trade, I think, will be the bearish trade. But that's also, I think, the most obvious trade. I'm a little worried about a bearish trade. I'm a little Hector says Tesla to zero. Nah, wait till he gets the robots to just replace everybody at the Tesla factory. And then Elon turns into like a Willy Wonka where you just don't see Elon for years, but yet Teslas just get produced. And you're like, how does it happen? And then eventually he has a golden ticket. He leaves it into one of the Teslas. And then everybody's got to find it because there's only 13 tickets. And then you get Augusta Gloop trying to get, well, I need a ride. How did they make these titles? It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Don't count out Elon. I want to say zero. I don't know. But it would be crazy. But we do have the gap down. So prior to, I think maybe about 8:30, something like that, we were still holding this 454.20 zone. That's where I want this thing to get back above if we are going to stay bullish. Otherwise, I think if we open underneath it, the obvious play will be the play that will probably continue. So I think a little bounce into that 454.20 zone. Again, we'll see if we have bulls want to. All year, essentially, the bulls have been buying dips. This is going to classify as a dip. But I think that 454.20 might be a little bit of resistance, and probably that's where you come in for your short. So maybe not, even though it is a gap and go, it looks good. Again, lots of momentum in here. I still think there's a ton of money on the sidelines. And I think the SPY might still be a little bit stronger than the Qs. So the Qs gapping down a little bit further. Even the Qs are coming into a little bit of support. 380.89. So is people going to pull money out of tech and kind of rotate it into something safer? I still think the buy mentality is in the market. The question is, what are they going to buy? So they're going to just wait it out for tech to come in, hold money in sidelines. Do we go back to treasuries? I think you probably end up buying some of these safer companies and maybe even companies such as airlines and things that are still kind of ripping. Maybe even a market for some more short squeezes, but I think the short squeeze play is going to be a little bit tiresome potentially for probably the next couple of days, just because I think with the drop from Netflix, drop from Tesla, you probably start having some bulls saying, okay, maybe this is our rotation, and you might not want to squeeze them as much. So we'll see. But we do have a retest gap on the Qs. This is also going to be hopefully held at support 381.14. You have the 10 EMA in there. So again, I don't think this dip is that long lasting. I'm still leaning a little bit more bullish. The SPY has, I think, a little bit more room to drop. But again, I just want to see where that thing opens. So just keeping cash under the mattress is not an option. I mean, it could be an option. But if you choose to do so, I would not probably just go online and mention that your cash is under your mattress. So maybe, keeping it there, not the problem. Mentioning it that you do have it there, that's the second part that I would probably look into more. All right, let's look at some of the big dogs. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla with a gap down, and their earnings were not bad. Surprise beat to the upside, earnings per share. Surprise beat on revenue as well. So they held their own, but we did have big run-ups, and I think we're going to see this probably in a lot of things throughout earnings season, and we'll see how it plays out. But maybe this is going to provide at least some kind of a bigger dip to some extent. For right now, we are kind of holding some kind of support. It is a retest gap. I don't know what the market was pricing in. I didn't check the options before the earnings came out. But you do have a decent little gap on this thing. Obviously with enhanced premium, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't even know if 278 is really going to get paid that well on it. I mean, it's a big gap, but it's not huge. So they are still kind of holding their own. If I was holding puts, for me, I would probably take my profit at open. That's what I would. If you have profit, I would probably take it at open on this one and just let it bounce out. But that could provide us actually a decent. If it comes down a little bit more, I like it better. 275.46. Let's see where this thing got to pre-market. Trying to see if we should play the fade on this one or just play the continuation. This looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little ABC. We are above below the VPOC for right now. And then you got some high volume areas. So I'll watch this 279.32. We do have a little bit of a hammer from earnings, so people did buy this thing up roughly where that actually 275.82. That's exactly what I said. People bought it up here. This could be a retest into this 276. So this is the zone I want to watch for a bullish case. Or even if I'm bearish, that's probably where I look to take profits, at least something. Let's put it a little alert down there as well. Add alerts. We'll just see where this thing sets off at. But that might be an interesting spot. Retest that little hammer and then kind of rally back as it is a retest gap. CJ's in the house. Almost 2 million Tesla trades pre-market. Yep. There will be a lot of volatility. July has been just sucked dry of volatility. At least for a couple of these names, the volatility should be back. And then with these causing some type of move in the market, I think everything will kind of be almost trading like a normal day. So it should be fun. Regardless, it should be fun. Netflix. So Netflix, they beat on earnings per share, but on revenue, they did not. That is quite the gap down. And again, we're going to have volume from yesterday, which is a high volume area. I'm actually more concerned with the day before volume. That big long candle, price went crazy. And we are gapping underneath that day for right now. Also under the 10, also under key VPOC level. So if we're going to get any bullish run to reverse this play, 450.81 has to break. Otherwise, it might still be in a little bit of a tight range. I would be looking for 441 as support. So you still get roughly about $7 to the downside. And then if that starts to break, there's a whole bunch of levels kind of in this area. So I don't know if it's going to be a great short, but it does look a little bit more short than it is long. Let's put these ones higher on the list just as we'll at least watch them. But I think everyone's just feeling like everything is bearish. And this is our big move we're all waiting for. And that big move we've all been waiting for happens at least once a week. Yeah, $28, but it did also run up like crazy. I mean, the low of this move was somewhere in the 162s, 161, and it was pretty much shot straight up to 487-ish, 45. So there's definitely a lot of people profitable. And with that type of run, not really any pullbacks, there's probably people that don't really care that this thing is dropping $20. I don't think we're freaking out most of the people. Just some. We are into a little resistance. And I don't know. Is the sky falling or not? I don't know if I'm on the camp. I think this is more the fact that we're only down after this kind of move, that we're only down $28 or wherever we're sitting, is actually a sign that the bulls are still pretty strong and the bears don't. I mean, if you miss after that run up and it looks that bad in terms of earnings and revenue and outlooks, I would expect that this would have dropped a lot more, to be honest. So I don't know. I don't think the bulls are really that scared yet. We'll see. They gapping into the short term moving average. Yeah, recession back on the table. Hide your wife, hide your kids. Recession's here. Like what? I don't know. COF gap down. Sympathy play from DFS. They report tonight. Yep. So there's another decent one. So earnings report tonight. Capital One. Into those moving averages. Add a little bit of support, sitting at the 10. I would expect either, again, we'll have to see where this thing opens. If this thing drops lower to the positive side of things, if you're bearish, you're probably looking at 111.65. I think I worded that sentence the most absolute ridiculous way possible. To the positive side, if you're bearish and you're short, then to the downside is your benefit. What am I talking about? If this thing drops, I think 111.65 would be probably your target. To the higher side, probably closer to 116.19. And you do have earnings tonight, so maybe a little bit of a chop. For today, we'll see. Even Tesla was choppy for a little bit. But we'll see COF. And then what did DFS do? Discover Financial. Well, that's not good. See, there's a gap where people should be concerned. That's what I was expecting. The gap like this is what I was expecting on not so much Tesla because they kind of held their own, but yeah, buy the rumor, sell the news. But on Netflix, I thought we were going to get something closer to this. So a little bit of fear and panic in Discover. They're discovering what it feels like to be bearish. Let's see, right at the 618. So also sitting right at kind of this neckline. This could also actually be a buy opportunity. This actually might be one to fade higher. I might look to fade this one. Let's add this one to the list. DFS. We should have a decent amount of room to the higher side on it. I don't know if DFS has dividends. DFS dividend. So as of this 121, that dividend is going to jump like crazy. That could actually be a decent opportunity for the long term if you like it too. I don't know. I'm not adding it to the long term, but that would be an interesting buy spot if you've already missed this. Tesla, let me just see if I'm missing anything else in the chat. That's it. We got earnings day. We got 3 stocks. Everyone's feeling okay today. Everyone's okay. All right. We'll take a quick run through the rest of the list. We got crowd not doing much. It seems like even just based on this, probably three stocks right now is, and I would say even mainly two, everyone's going to be focusing on. So high volatility in at least Netflix and Tesla. We can look at some sympathy plays too, INTC. So that one does have a little bit of a gap down. We could look at Neo, maybe. That one had a reversal hammer yesterday. It does have a little bit of support if that support breaks, which is sitting somewhere at 1042. Neo could be interesting. Does have a little bit of room to the downside as well. If we get onto that daily 10, which I don't know if we will or not, we'll throw it a little higher on the list. Let's see. Nvidia. And then we'll take a look at AMD. AMD has been kind of weak. I see it's already dropping pre-market on the screen. This is where I had some kind of bullish entry before. So this is a retest gap, probably still in a little bit of a chop zone. If this thing fades right away, you'd be looking for 458.6, probably about 458.68 for profits. And then to the higher side, if you want to go bullish, 469.94. I probably won't execute a trade on this thing right out of the gate as we're in chop. But if we get to this close as possible to 470, that's where I'd attempt to short it. And then if we come down here for 458, that would be my bounce spot. So that's where I'll take a shot, at least in the dark on that one. I believe Bitcoin has been moving, and that might be, or starting to move. So we're still about $900 away from where we need it to really start to break out for the real next level. So it is a little chop, but could maybe help out Coinbase. Finally hit targets yesterday. That's impressive. Unfortunately, that was set for a day trade, not swing. All right. Above all moving averages, inside day. So this one probably buy as low as you could. 107.76 would be the zone. You might still get some continuation on Mara and Riot. So a little gap up on Mara into a little resistance. So probably not yet on that one. Riot, very similar. I did see Carvana gapping up again. CVNA. I don't know if it still is or not. Nope, that kind of flipped a little bit. So Carvana, you want to see probably about 51.63 hold. If not, you do have a good short opportunity down to probably about $41. We'll see, but that's still a just absolute killer gap. I don't think based on any fundamentals. Ron says, did you look at Carvana? I just saw your message. We're thinking alike today. Yeah, a little bit of gap down, so still inside day. I think if you're going to try this one, Ron, probably still could attempt the short squeeze on it. But you want to, especially because it's inside day, you want to buy this thing as low as possible. 51.61-ish, somewhere in that zone. That would be interesting. Otherwise, you're just taking a stab in the dark somewhere around here if we get continuation and a breakout when the rest of the market's coming down. And then again, if it doesn't hold here, this 51.61 zone, you'll probably get stopped out of your trade. Look for that bounce off of there. Again, 51.61 could probably try to reverse that play, but somewhere around that zone would be at least the interesting spot. And again, if it does fade lower, the next stop would be the low of yesterday. And if that one doesn't hold, you're probably targeting this somewhere in the 41 zone. Good morning. Did you do right yet? If not, can you please? I jumped on late. Yep, just covered it, but we could go back. It does look like a little S curve happening on the daily. We need Bitcoin to break out kind of for the next level. If Bitcoin could go, this should get more momentum. What I would be concerned about is a 5-wave count. It definitely looks to me like we are on wave 5. This is a 1, 2. This entire move is 3, 4. And I don't know how far, how long how short wave 5 is. But I think this could be a little wave 5 if they're just a big, massive move. So right now you have some people profitable. If you start to break those highs, I think somebody's going to want to take profit. I don't know who. Maybe John Smith. He might want to take profits, whoever that is. But for today, as a day trade, I think it will be a little bit of a rougher one. So Bitcoin is up. That should give a little bit more positivity to Riot. The same thing with Mara. Watch these levels up here, 1939. So you get about 29 cents higher. That's going to be a heavy resistance area. If we're able to break through, the market wants to rebound, crypto starts going crazy, then the next target is going to be this 2020 zone. And then again, if we do start to break it, we should have definitely some room to run. Let me put back on the Lux Algo. So we would have some room to run. Really, yeah, we got to break this probably about 2062, and then next level up becomes 2290. So right now you do have a little bit of probably chop both directions until we get a clear break one way or the other. TSM. Taiwan Semiconductor, nasty gap. That looks pretty gross. I'm gonna scoot that on the list for sure. So it is a retest, and we have one last little spot that this thing could hold. We've gapped out. We've already retested this one. This is going to be a little bit of a weaker one and has a better potential to break. But again, it is a little bit of support, and it technically is a retest gap. If it breaks that level, I would probably have $95.05 in my sights. Is other Asian companies down? Yep. So a little gap down on, and I think a lot of this is probably also leaning off of Netflix and Tesla earnings as well. But US market's down a little bit. So is the Chinese market, the Hong Kong market. But yeah, a little gap down. Same thing with support. Taiwan Semiconductor would be definitely more interesting than probably BABA today. Let me just check JD. But yeah, if it starts to break, you got about $3 to the downside for TSM. JD is kind of just hanging out, so it's not really universal space, not doing anything. Overstock, nothing. WHR sympathy play. WHR. Could be an interesting little gap too. You got some of those moving averages coming in about 146.09. I'd like to see a little buying into this one. I don't want to see 150 break. So somewhere around this 149.68, if we get any type of buying, that would be an interesting spot to look short. And then we'd probably be looking to take this thing about 146.65. Could go a little bit lower. AMD is starting to get a candle. Yeah, we said we're going to look at AMD. As well. Let's actually add WHR higher on the list. Just so I don't forget to look at that one. I really want to see where that thing opens. It is an interesting gap down, probably definitely trapping some bulls. Which again, that's the obvious part. The question is, where does this thing actually go to? AMD gapping down, a little bit of a retest gap at a tiny bit of support. 116.42. That's going to be your spot for probably some heavy resistance. Still looks weak though. if AMD breaks this 115.05, which we're only 5 cents away, next stop, I think becomes 114.47. And that's the spot that has to hold. Otherwise, I don't really see much holding this thing up. Probably back until 111.10. So we could see a little bit more of a dip on AMD. All of these moving averages have been already tested with this. And I would say including this spot. So that could take us a little bit lower even too. Yeah, 111.16 would be my target. So we actually have some room to the downside on AMD. And we might be able to set a pre-market trade. How much time do I got? 9:27. Airbnb. I'm kind of thinking like, I don't know, bearish entry here. It's a nice hammer. And then we'll go stop here. That could look interesting. Let me just run some numbers real quick. 114.76 by 115.58. We have to get to 113.12. 113.12. Target. All right, I'm gonna start to check this one out real quick. Might have to do it again. You're gonna try to take a bounce on it. My personal day trade. I want to see where AMD opens up, but D114.76 by 115.58. All right, guys. So this is what I'm thinking on this one. I'm gonna throw it into YouTube as well. If you guys want to follow the trade, I'm going to wait till the bell opens, but I'm going to get it ready in the broker. So I'll be relatively quick on it. Sell shorts. And if it just opens and we get some kind of a bigger bounce in the market, so be it. 6, 6. All right, I'm gonna throw it out there into the broker. We'll see what happens. That one wants to get filled. I'll go official trade on that one in Slack as well. And then we'll see what happens. All right, we got like 12 seconds left. Let's take a look real quick at Airbnb. Decent little gap down, only $2, but lots of wicks up here, a little bit of an indecision. We definitely have some room on Airbnb. That could be decent too. So target on it would be, probably takes it down to this 141 zone. Again, if we could get some kind of a bounce, that'd be fantastic. All right, the bell is open. We'll see if we get filled on AMD, or if it's a trap or anything is possible. We will see. But everybody out there in YouTube land, I appreciate you guys joining us each and every morning. We do have a free week coming up where you guys can trade with us each and every day. So we'll have to see. Might have got filled on AMD. Seems like it could be working if I did. Maybe I got skipped. I don't know. It's a crazy world. We'll see what happens. No, skipped on AMD. Okay, fantastic.